Welcome to my channel Sci-Fi Love Story. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. The Palace of Aelith did not believe in straight lines. Its halls curved like rivers of white stone. Its walls glowed softly from light that moved under the surface like living veins. Even the air shimmered faintly, warm and scented with alien flowers that opened only under triple sunlight. Captain Elias Ward walked through it like a man entering a battlefield. He wore ceremonial robes designed by the Aelithian royal court. The fabric adjusted to his body temperature, which meant it couldn't decide if he should be warm or cool. The result was deeply uncomfortable. The collar brushed his neck in a way that made him want to scratch like a nervous recruit. He had survived vacuum exposure. He had been shot twice. He had once hidden inside the stomach of a sand leviathan on a desert moon. None of that compared to walking toward his own wedding. Aelithian nobles stepped aside as he passed. Tall, silver-skinned beings with long, elegant ears and glowing markings along their temples. They bowed with graceful precision. Elias nodded back every time, never sure if he was being polite or accidentally declaring war. His eyes moved constantly. Doors, corners, windows, balconies, guard posts. He counted exits without meaning to. Old habits didn't die, they just waited. At the end of a long arching corridor, the palace opened onto a high garden terrace. Below, floating pools of water reflected the sky, which held 3 suns today, dimmed for the ceremony. Princess Liara stood at the railing. She wore ceremonial armor, not a dress, polished white plates with silver lines that marked her rank as heir to the Aelithian throne. Her long ears were decorated with thin bands of royal metal, etched with symbols Elias had tried very hard to memorize and failed every time. She turned before he spoke. Aelithians could hear a human heartbeat from across a room. "You are walking like someone planning an escape," she said calmly. "Purely theoretical," Elias replied. "I mapped 6 exits just in case of meteor strikes or awkward speeches." Her lips curved slightly. For her people, that was almost a laugh. "You are nervous." "Terrified," he admitted, but in a heroic way. They stood side by side, looking over the gardens. Strange plants shifted below, turning their leaves toward the suns like slow machines. "I never imagined this," Liara said quietly. "Same," Elias said. "My career plan didn't include marry alien royalty." "And yet you stayed." He looked at her. "Yeah," he said, "I did." A soft chime echoed through the palace. Ceremony countdown, 15 minutes. Liara's ears lowered just slightly, a sign of nerves. Elias noticed. He always noticed. He was about to say something reassuring when his wrist implant vibrated. Once, twice. He froze. That pattern did not belong to friends or family. Liara turned sharply. "That is not ceremonial." "No," Elias said quietly, turning his wrist away from her view. "It's work." Her expression hardened. "You said there would be no missions." "There were no missions scheduled," he corrected too quickly. The implant pulsed again. A faint holographic symbol appeared over his skin, a black triangular mark surrounded by shifting code. Deep cover priority. The kind of call that only came when something had already gone very, very wrong. His stomach dropped. Liara stepped closer. "Elias." "I just need a minute," he said, forcing a smile that did not reach his eyes. "Don't start without me. That would be rude." She did not smile back. "You are afraid." "I'm always afraid," he said lightly. "It keeps me alive." The implant flashed a location. "Off-world, immediate departure. No contact allowed." He looked at her then, really looked at her. The warrior princess trying to be brave. The future ruler of a species. The woman who had chosen a human soldier when she could have had peace. He opened his mouth to explain. Nothing came out. "I will return," he said instead. She searched his face. "You swear this?" He nodded once. "A soldier's promise. Not a lover." Music began deep within the palace, the ceremony starting. Elias turned and walked away. He did not look back. Behind him, Princess Liara stood alone as celebration lights filled the sky. 5 years later, the border station believed in straight lines. Everything was sharp, dark, and built for war. Metal walls, clean angles, efficient lighting. Princess Liara had approved the design herself. She stood in the command center, hands clasped behind her back, watching a holographic map of the frontier. Her armor was darker now, marked with the symbols of a commander, not a bride. "Run the projection again," she said. Red warning marks blinked across several star systems. Crop failures. Ecosystem collapse. Colonies reporting strange biological decay. Commander Thalen, her second-in-command, shifted nervously. "Princess, the data has not changed." "Then our assumptions are wrong," she said. A young officer turned from his console. "The human delegation is requesting another delay on inspection protocols." Liara didn't even look at him, denied. "Yes, Commander." 5 years ago, she would have stood in shining halls practicing wedding vows. 5 years ago, she would have believed love could be simple. Now she believed in readiness, strength, and never waiting for anyone. A chime interrupted the room. "Incoming transmission," Thalen said. "Priority unknown, signal age 5 years." The room went still. "Put it through," Liara said. Static filled the air. Then a grainy image appeared. A human figure in a damaged suit. Elias. Older, tired, bruised. "If this message plays," he said, voice distorted, "then I messed up the timing again." The feed cut. Silence. Thalen turned slowly. "Commander." Liara's voice was ice, traced the signal. Hours later, another alert came. "A human vessel has entered border space," Thalen said. "No weapons, no transponder, one life sign." Liara closed her eyes briefly. "Bring them in," she said. The holding chamber. Elias Ward had imagined his return many times. In most versions, there were explosions. Instead, there was a holding cell that smelled faintly of disinfectant. A blue energy field wrapped around his wrists. "Still rude," he muttered. The door opened. Liara entered alone. She wore dark command armor now. Scars marked her jawline. Her presence filled the room like gravity. Elias stood instinctively. The field forced him back down. "You are older," she said. "Espionage is bad for skincare," he replied. Silence pressed in. "You vanished," she said, "hours before a union that would have changed history." "I know." "You left no message, no signal, no explanation." "I know." Her eyes hardened. "And now you return like this." "I didn't leave you," he said quietly. "I was taken." "Semantics." "Important semantics," he said. "There was a weapon, a real one, designed to destroy human and Alithian worlds at the same time. I had to disappear or they would have used you to get to me." She stared at him. "So you chose for me." "I chose to keep you alive." Her voice shook just a little. "You do not decide which loss is worse." He nodded. "You're right." That surprised her. "You are still hiding things," she said. "I'm still classified," he replied softly. She turned away, struggling for control. "My people believed you betrayed us." "And you?" he asked. She didn't look at him. "I believed you were dead. It was easier." Before he could answer, alarms echoed through the station. An officer's voice came over the comm. "Commander, multiple colonies reporting accelerated biological collapse." Liara turned back to Elias. The weapon, she said. His face went pale. That's impossible, he whispered. We stopped it. She met his eyes. You stopped what you found, she said. Something survived. A long silence passed. Finally she spoke, voice steady again. You will assist us. Elias nodded. And if you disappear again, she added, I will not come looking. He gave a small, tired smile. Fair. Outside the viewport, warships moved into formation. 5 years ago, he had walked away from a wedding. Now he stood beside a princess who no longer waited to be saved. And somewhere in the stars, a silent weapon was waking up. The warship Resolute Dawn did not glide through space. It pushed through it. Its engines burned with a deep blue light that bent the stars into long streaks as it entered faster than light travel. The hull was layered in human alloy and a lithium energy mesh, a symbol of an alliance that had once been celebrated with music and light. Now it moved in silence. Inside the command deck, Princess Liara stood at the central holographic table. Systems and star maps floated around her in shifting layers of light. Her officers worked quickly, voices low, movements precise. Across from her stood Elias Ward. No restraints now. No cell. Just distance. 3 colonies have confirmed ecosystem failure, an officer reported. Plant life decaying at the cellular level, soil microorganisms collapsing, water turning toxic. Elias leaned forward, jaw tight. It's not random. Liara didn't look at him. Explain. It's selective, he said. The weapon doesn't just kill, it studies, it adapts. It learns how ecosystems work before it destroys them. A few officers glanced at him uneasily. Liara's voice stayed calm. How long before total collapse? Months, Elias said. Maybe weeks if it accelerates. Source. That's the problem, he said. The original weapon had a central control lattice. We destroyed it. If this is happening again, he swallowed. Then someone rebuilt it, smarter. Silence fell over the deck. Liara turned slightly toward him. And you are the only one who knows how it thinks. Yeah, he said quietly. Lucky me. The mission. Hours later, Elias stood in the launch bay beside a sleek infiltration shuttle. Its hull shimmered with stealth coating. Elythian symbols glowed faintly along its sides. Liara approached in full combat armor. We will deploy together, she said. Elias blinked. You're coming. You know the weapon, she replied. I know command. We both know what it costs to hesitate. He gave a crooked smile, just like old times. Her expression did not change. Nothing about this is like before. Fair enough. They boarded the shuttle, the hatch sealed with a heavy clang. As the ship launched, stars spun outside the viewport. The target system burned ahead, a pale blue star surrounded by drifting clouds of strange particles. Elias frowned. Those weren't there 5 years ago. Scans confirm biological material, Liara said. Artificial spores. Dispersal phase, he muttered. It's already spreading. The shuttle docked with a silent research platform, hidden in orbit around a dead moon. No lights. No signals. Just darkness. Stay close, Liara ordered. Wouldn't dream of wandering off, Elias said. Inside the platform. The airlock opened with a hiss. The station interior looked wrong. Walls were covered in living tissue woven through metal. Veins pulsed with faint light. The floor shifted slightly under their boots like something breathing. Elias stared. That's new. It wasn't this alive before. Liara raised her weapon. Focus. They moved through narrow corridors. Organic cables hung from the ceiling. Soft clicking sounds echoed in the distance. A shape dropped from above. A drone, but not mechanical. Its body was grown, not built. Flesh wrapped around metal bones. Eyes glowed with cold intelligence. Elias fired first. Liara followed instantly. Their shots hit weak points without words between them. The creature fell, twitching, then melted into black sludge. They exchanged a glance. Old rhythm still there. "Missed working with you," Elias said quietly. She didn't answer. The core. They reached a vast central chamber. In the middle floated a massive lattice of light and tissue. Threads extended outward into the station like roots. Energy pulsed through it in steady waves. Elias' implant buzzed painfully. "That's it," he whispered, "the learning core." Liara studied it. "Can you shut it down?" "Maybe," he said, "but it won't go quietly." Alarms suddenly screamed. The lattice brightened. "They know we're here," she said. "Yeah," Elias muttered. "I was hoping we could just politely unplug it." Panels opened in the walls. More biodrones poured into the chamber. Liara took command instantly. Left flank, suppress fire. Elias moved with her, covering angles, firing in controlled bursts. They fought back to back, just like soldiers who had trained together for years, because they had in another life. Between shots, she spoke. "You said you destroyed the original system." "I did," he said, "but someone saved its research, improved it, gave it autonomy." "You mean it can operate without orders?" "Yeah," he said grimly. "It's not a weapon anymore, it's a species." That thought hit hard. A living intelligence designed to wipe out life. Liara's voice came sharp. "Options. I can trigger a cascade failure," he said. "Force it to collapse its own neural network." "Do it." "There's a catch." "Of course there is." "I have to access the core directly," he said. "Manual interface, and when it starts collapsing, this chamber will seal." She looked at him. "No," she said. He gave a small, sad smile. "We're not doing this again. I'm not disappearing." "Then think of something else." "I am," he said. "This is the something else." Another wave of drones rushed in. Liara cut them down with precise fire. "Elias," she said, voice tight, "I am ordering you to find another way." He met her eyes. "For 5 years. I followed orders that kept me away from you," he said. "I'm done with those." Before she could stop him, he ran for the central platform. The choice. He leaped onto the living structure. It reacted instantly, tendrils wrapping around his boots, trying to pull him in. He jammed his implant spike into the core node. Pain exploded through his arm as the system tried to override him. "Override accepted," he gasped. "Starting cascade." "Elias, get back here," Liara shouted. The chamber doors began sliding shut. He looked at her. "No more promises I can't keep," he said softly. The door slammed closed between them. Liara pounded her fist against the barrier. "Open it." Inside, energy surged wildly. The lattice screamed, a sound that vibrated through bone. Elias fought through the pain, fingers flying across holographic controls only he could see. "Come on, come on." Outside, Liara forced herself to think like a commander, not anything else. She rerouted power, overrode security, forced the system to delay total lockdown. Inside, the lattice began to collapse inward, threads snapping, light imploding. Elias laughed weakly, still bad at timing. A final surge blasted outward. Then silence. Smoke filled the chamber. Liara's override succeeded. The doors slid open. Elias lay on the platform, armor scorched, breathing shallow but alive. She ran to him, dropping to her knees. He opened one eye. "Good news," he croaked. "I didn't explode." She hit his shoulder, not hard, but enough. "Do not ever do that again." "I'll try," he said, coughing. "No promises, I have a brand." Despite herself, a small, broken sound escaped her, half laugh, half something else. "The truth." Back aboard the Resolute Dawn, Elias recovered in the med bay. Liara stood beside his bed, arms folded. You stopped this node, she said, but others exist. Yeah, he said, this was just a test site, someone running a full network. Who? He hesitated. Human, he said at last, or at least started that way, black project off books, they thought they could control it. Liara's eyes darkened. Your people built this. Some of them, he said quietly, not all of us. She studied him for a long moment. You came back knowing this, she said. Yeah. You could have stayed hidden. Yeah. Why didn't you? He met her gaze. Because running once was enough. Silence stretched between them. Not empty this time. Heavy, real. Outside the ship's viewport, fleets from two civilizations gathered. Not for a wedding. For war. And this time, Elias Ward was not walking away. The fleets gathered in silence. Human ships held formation beside Elythian war cruisers, their hulls glowing with shield light. Dozens of vessels floated near the edge of a dead star system where space itself seemed wrong. Scanners showed nothing solid. But something was there. A vast cloud of microscopic machines and engineered spores spread between the stars like invisible smoke. Entire ecosystems had already died in nearby systems. Now the cloud was growing, learning, preparing. At the center of the fleet, aboard the Resolute Dawn, Princess Liara stood on the command deck. Beside her stood Elias Ward. No armor this time, just a reinforced tactical suit. He looked tired, older than his years, but his eyes were sharp. A holographic model rotated in front of them, a shifting mass of red threads representing the living weapon network. It's connecting the nodes, Elias said. Once the network links fully, it can spread faster than any fleet can chase it. Time, Liara asked. Hours, he replied, maybe less. An Elythian officer spoke softly. Our weapons cannot target something so dispersed. Liara looked to Elias. You said there was another way. He nodded. There is, but you're not going to like it. I rarely do, she said. He expanded the model, revealing a pulsing core hidden within the cloud. The network still needs coordination, a central signal. It's buried deep, protected by the densest spore concentration. A command brain, Liara said. Yeah, we hit that, the whole system collapses. The spores lose direction. They become inert. The officer hesitated. No ship could survive flying into that density. Elias gave a small smile. Good thing I'm not sending a ship. Liara turned slowly. Explain. We use a single strike craft, he said, small enough to slip through gaps, deliver an overload charge directly into the core signal. And the pilot, she asked. He didn't answer right away. She already knew. No, she said. Liara. No, she repeated sharper. You are not sacrificing yourself for this. I'm not sacrificing, he said calmly. I'm solving the problem. You said you were done disappearing. I am, he said. This time I'm choosing to stay and fight. She stepped closer, voice low. There are other pilots. Not with my implant, he replied. It can interface with the signal, trigger the collapse from inside. Silence pressed in around them. Finally, Liara said, Then I am going with you. Elias blinked. That's a terrible idea. Yes, she said, it is. The final run. The strike craft was barely larger than a shuttle. No weapons beyond basic defense. One payload, a human-designed quantum surge charge. Inside the cockpit, warning lights flashed as they approached the red cloud. Radiation climbing, Elias muttered, biosignatures everywhere. Outside, the fleet watched. Two figures against a weapon, meant to erase civilizations. Still time to turn back, Elias said quietly. Liara strapped in beside him. Fly. They entered the cloud. The view outside turned red and gold as particles slammed against the shields. The ship shuddered. "Spore clusters reacting," Elias said. "They know we're here." Shapes formed in the cloud, defensive organisms. Larger constructs groaned for combat. Liara fired the ship's small cannons, clearing a path. Distance to core. 10,000 kilometers, 8-6. The ship rocked violently. "Shields failing," she warned. "Almost there," he said through clenched teeth. Ahead, space shimmered. A bright node pulsed like a heart made of light and living tissue. "That's it," Elias said. "The signal brain." He armed the charge. "Manual trigger only," he said. "No remote option." "Of course," she said. A massive spore construct lunged toward them. Liara swerved hard, barely missing it. "Elias," she shouted. "Uploading my implant key, now." The charge detached from the hull, magnetically locking onto the glowing core. A countdown started. 30 seconds. "Time to leave," Liara said. Elias tried to pull away. The ship didn't move. "Gravitational bind," he said. "The core's holding us." She didn't hesitate. "Manual override," she said, ripping open a panel. Sparks flew as she rerouted power. "Liara, radiation." "I am aware," she said. The engines roared. The ship broke free just as the countdown hit 0. Behind them, the core erupted in silent white light. A shockwave tore through the cloud. Every red thread on the holographic map, back on the Resolute Dawn, went dark. The spores stopped moving. Stopped thinking. Stopped. The weapon died. Aftermath. Cheers erupted across the fleet. Human and Elythian ships transmitted the same message on open channels. Threat neutralized. Inside the strike craft, alarms blared. "Radiation exposure high," Elias said weakly. Liara glanced at him. His hands trembled. "You are injured." "Occupational hazard," he muttered. She guided the damaged craft back toward the fleet, jaw tight. "You will not die now," she said quietly. "Wasn't planning to," he replied. The reckoning. Weeks later, the Elythian Council chamber glowed with soft crystal light. Representatives from both civilizations stood together. Elias stood beside Liara, healed but scarred. The truth had come out. Human black projects had created the original weapon. Elythian intelligence had known about Elias' mission years ago and allowed the silence to protect political stability. Both sides had made choices that hurt people. Liara stepped forward. "No more hidden wars," she said. "No more sacrifices made in silence." A human admiral nodded, agreed. Joint oversight was established, shared intelligence, open command. Trust rebuilt the hard way. The balcony. Later, on a quiet observation deck, Elias stood beside Liara watching ships move peacefully between the stars. "No ceremony this time," he said. "No," she agreed. "No crowns, no crowds, no promises we can't keep." She looked at him, only truth. He took a slow breath. "I'm not going anywhere." "I know," she said. For the first time in years, her ears relaxed fully. Below them, humans and Elythians worked side by side, repairing worlds that had nearly died. Human stubbornness, alien strength. Together, Elias glanced at the stars, then back at her. "You know, this might be the first mission I actually finished properly." She almost smiled. "Your timing is still terrible." "Yeah," he said, "but I finally showed up." They stood there in quiet, not as a soldier and a princess, not as symbols. Just two survivors who had chosen to stay. And in the vast cold of space, that choice meant everything. The end.